Hello there, and welcome to Quite So. This podcast airs every second Sunday on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeart Radio, and on YouTube in audio format. I do post snippets of the video on Instagram and TikTok. So if you'd like to follow me there, you can see parts of the podcast in video format. I also urge you to visit my website, dadaisms.com, and check out my creative journey. And from there, you can link to all my platforms. Today's episode is a heart-to-heart with my brother, Wadih Jreidini, and I hope you will enjoy it as much as we did. Hello, Wadih Jreidini. You are my brother. For those who haven't met you yet or don't know that my family name is Jreidini because I go by Dada on social media. How are you today?
Hello. Nice to meet you online. That's my first time we meet online in front of an audience. Usually our meetings are private, so I don't know what you're going to do to me.
I'll take it easy on you, don't worry. I'll be nice. I am your older sister in the end, so I can't be, mean to you, habibi. So, my plan for this episode is to, take us through a journey, a heart to heart, from our childhood to our adulthood. I'm 48 now, you're 47, you're going to be 47 soon. So that's a good chunk of life, almost half a life. So I'd like to really highlight that. We started life for 29 years of your life, 30 years of my life in the same bedroom that we shared. And for the first 9 years of your life, we were sharing it alone. And then our younger brother was born, and another 20 years were spent with our brother in the same bedroom where we had, two beds that were bunk beds on top of each other, and then a third bed was added under the window.
Military style.
What was your, what's, if you will, the most prominent memory of our first 10 years living together in the room before Ramsey was born?
Our little brother Ramsey, when he was born, he was obviously a landmark in our relationship. Before him, I was I was classified in the household as the little runt who always caused problems and never stood still and always broke all the toys. That was my classification. But when my brother was born, the classification became, well, I was still the little runt, but now I'm not the young runt. I'm the middle child who's also a runt, and who's also breaking things, and also beating his little brother. I mean, I'm not the only one who used to torment you. I mean, Ramsey learned from the master after
Yes,
all,
of course. I mean,
and
he had to
he
emulate his
perfected
older
his
brother.
craft.
So I
Yeah.
was always wondering though. I mean, I wondered like at later age when I was in the room with you, I never even thought of it, that I would hang some lady things on invisible spaces, and you'd always see, stuff that belonged to girls and ladies, in the room. Did that affect you in any way? Did that torment you in any way? Did you even notice it, or was it something natural that was just there for you because you got used to it?
Well, I mean, you eventually get used to it, but I mean, as your brother, I mean, usually when I find this stuff laying around, I would my natural impulse is kind of a, I know it shouldn't be this way, but it's kind of disgust. Wow, I mean, those ladies' things, just don't want to see them, a bra hanging here or whatever. So, I mean, that was my natural reaction. I'm not gay, but that's maybe because I'm a brother in this case.
But I mean,
So
you end up living in a house with your wife and two daughters, and they're all women. You have no sons at the moment, at least, and I'm sure you see lots of it now. But I think your perspective has changed because it's like your
Yeah,
wife and
this
daughter.
is God's punishment on me, maybe for tormenting you all these years. He, I'm the only man in the house. Even my dog is a girl, you
True.
know. So, yeah. So maybe, yeah, maybe this is poetic justice. Maybe God is really giving you justice, or if you believe in karma. Yeah, and in the case of my wife and daughters, yeah, I mean, it's kind of weird sometimes. I mean, because my relationship with my wife is that I mean, obviously, like every relationship between husband and wife, there is the affection part, there's the sexual part, and so sometimes, when I look at the nice underwear, I think, wow, kinky, and then oops, that's my daughter's. Oh shit.
No!
So
Oops,
so
wrong room.
you know I mean, yeah, and because my daughters are now quite I mean, they're not
Yeah,
little girls
Angela is
anymore. I mean, my
15.
eldest is
Yeah,
16.
16
16 actually.
now. Yeah, true.
Yeah, and Laura is 13.
Yeah,
So yeah, they are young women now.
yeah.
So basically they wear each other's clothes. So yeah, that's our life in our household.
Did you um did you find that having a sister did you find that it helped you deal with the women in your life more, or it had no effect?
Oh, definitely it helped. I mean, having a sister gives you perspective on the feminine side of every relationship, especially in our age. We are late Gen Xers,
Hmm.
and our exposure. I mean, by the time we were growing up, there was no social media, and even during our school years, our interaction with the opposite sex was more or less limited, because although we were there was this commingling, it was not as extensive as you find nowadays. So so definitely it helped. It helped a lot to gather the other perspective, though. It taught me things from it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
To be honest, it's a double-edged sword, because you get the female perspective, but then sometimes you take the advice from I mean, when I used to get advice from you or from
Yeah.
my female cousins, okay, many times, I'm not going to say who gave me their
Yeah.
bad
Yeah.
advice, but many times bad advice
True.
was given. Why? Because even during our young age, women do not give good advice to men on how they should handle themselves with women. It took me a
I
very long
believe.
time to understand this.
Yeah, actually, I believe this is the case always because a woman thinks she knows what she wants from a man when she's growing up. I mean, now in my mid 40s, it took me probably until these 2 years for me to know much better what I want out of a man, which is mainly now safety. I want a man to make me feel safe in every way because I used to feel that it's okay to date someone who is not educated. It's okay to date someone who doesn't have money. We were, we grew up with democratic views in the house, and we never judge people for who they are. And eventually, I discovered the importance of having a masculine man who is not masculine only in look and build, which was what I used to concentrate on, thinking that maybe this is what I needed. But basically, I discovered that the masculinity is in other things, are more important things, in the attitude, the personality, in taking care of the woman, in valuing the woman and respecting the woman to an extent that, he really wants to keep her safe and to provide for her. And I now this is what I look for. And this, of course, would require some type of financial stability on the man's part, and and also, if you will, emotional maturity. So I can totally see how I or anyone else of our female cousins would have given you bad advice because we grew up reading romance novels. And I mean, for a long time in my life, I distorted view of romance as well. So I'm sorry for that. Yeah, you can continue your story. So what happened when you got bad advice? And do you agree
Yeah, I mean,
with my perspective on what I look for in a male, or do you have a different perspective for me?
well, obviously, you have the right perspective now that you have matured. You can understand more the real value that a man can provide. And what you can provide also in a relationship. It's
Definitely.
not a one-side street. I mean, both are giving something to the other.
Yeah.
So obviously, you got it right now,
Thank
but
God, after
which
48
is
years.
which is yeah. I mean, look, it's only normal to be stupid when you're young. I
Yeah.
guess. I guess that's the normal thing. I'm a live example of that. When you're in your early 20s, you think that you can have it all,
Yeah.
and then you would realize that there are limits in life, and you cannot really. I mean, it's not the problem with romance novels is that there are no checks and balances. You can really have it all in a romance novel, all the positive sides and none of the negatives. And even if there are some negatives, they are really positives, not negatives. So if he can become angry, that's because he's protective. That's why he gets angry because
Yeah.
So it's all really positive, none of the
Yeah.
negatives. But in reality, there are always trade-offs.
Definitely.
You get something, you have to give something in return, and this is the way always with I mean, in the case of a woman, what's the trade-off when she is young? She wants the handsome man. Let's say she focuses more on the looks. Okay, which is fine. I mean, looks aren't the bad, terrible thing, but when you over focus on looks, you are uh, you are trading off security. You are trading off future planning, settling down,
Mhm.
and then when a woman gets to her 30s, she would go the opposite way. Looks don't matter anymore. I just want the security. I just want the future planning, settling down, having kids. I mean, it becomes a pendulum swing to the other side, which is why the wisest thing a person would do in his early age is to understand that there is a balance, there is a trade-off in life. You will accept the mid looks, but also the mid level and provision and protection and planning for the future.
Yeah.
You might want only 2 kids. He wants 4 kids. You'll compromise on 3, let's say.
So speaking of romance and relationships and all that, you had a somehow a long-term romance.
We dated for I think 7 years.
7. Yeah, I remember it was a quite
For 7 years.
a long stretch. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
how did that romance affect your view on love in life in general, and how did it prepare you more for marriage? With another woman. Of course, every relationship leaves its mark and has its memories, which is beautiful. So how did that happen for you?
Well, you might think that after 7 years having a relationship, that would really impact you, and it might affect you in your future relationships. Usually, that's the case. Usually, I mean, I mean, there are no independent relationships, which is why maybe that's one of the reasons why people care to know about other people's past before they get entangled with them.
Yeah.
It's kind of important. I mean, I'm not just talking about. I mean, usually on the social media, the chatter mostly is focused on the men asking the women about their pasts, but actually, it's both. Women also care about men's pasts.
Sure.
It's not just a one-way street. Um, but so anyway, I'm sorry I veered off a little bit, but
Okay.
to drive the point, in my case, It was not that impactful for a reason because, well, A, either maybe because I'm a sociopath, I don't know, or B, maybe I blotted out my experience with her because of the bad stuff that happened in the end, towards the end,
Mm.
which you are very well aware of. You were in the thick of it,
So
kind
let's
of.
talk about that
So,
before you continue then, because uh, basically what happened, you were traveling for work, at the time a lot. And I
oh, yeah, yeah. Just sorry. This is the dramatic part. Okay, I'm just building up for your audience. This is the dramatic part where you are. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Fine. Sorry.
I've
Go ahead.
always,
Go ahead.
honestly, I've always felt guilty, a bit guilty about it, but let's talk about it. So I went with Sarah, our cousin, to Roadster Diner. It was one of my favorite places in Jaladib at the time in Lebanon. That's a free advertisement. I don't like it that much now, though. I'm sorry. But at that time, it was really the hub.
It
It
used
was
to
a
be
different
great.
vibe. Seriously. I mean, I used to go there for hours. I used to go there for 6, 7 hours straight, 8 hours, correct papers when I was a teacher, play Monopoly with my friends. We would like start with coffee, have dinner, have dessert, have another dinner, and another coffee, and leave after midnight and pay maybe $25. It was so crazy. And I would invite people who were on other tables. Like, I'll meet students of mine. I'd pay for their bill as well because they're my students. And it was really affordable and just a beautiful. The staff was amazing as well. I just love the staff that was there at the time. Anyway, so that was like a bit of a free
Those were the
advertisement.
good old days.
Seriously.
We used to make a lot of money, and life was cheaper.
Seriously, that was amazing.
Yeah.
And basically, what happened was we arrived there, and to your ex's bad luck, we decided to sit in a section. We had toured the whole place, huh? And then we were about to sit in a different section. Then I told them, the waiters, no, let's try and see if the section is open, if there's a table. We wait for a table to empty out and for people to leave. And we sat in the booth like almost behind her. And because that happened now, where she was at the booth at the end of the aisle, facing a wall, and she was sitting with a guy, with their backs. So I wouldn't have seen her if I hadn't moved to let people pass. It was just her bad luck that, I saw her, and she introduced me to her coworker, and I saw her phone next to his.
It's always the coworker.
Oh my God. And then I remember sitting with Sarah, and then our surfer was a friend of ours, of course, obviously, we were there all the time. And so we asked him to just let us know how they're behaving and if they're like dating. I really wanted to give her the benefit of the doubt, honestly. But he told me, come on, I mean, they're just sitting there. I mean, they're together. It's obvious. And so I went home. Well, of course, I was like planning with Sarah what to do. How are we gonna break this to you? And of course, I hated her because of what she did to you. Because I'm the kind of person who's extremely protective of my family, and I would go to extreme lengths to protect my family. It's just my nature. And so I remember the first thing we did was go to the house, take down a painting that she had given my parents as a gift, and replacing it with another one, and I'm giving the painting to Sarah, which she stored under her bed for years. And anyway, and I knew that you would come back home, see that painting off the wall, and wonder what happened, and ask about it, and then I'd have the in to tell you what happened. That was my plan. So yeah, as I said, I did feel guilty about this for a long time because I knew this would hurt you, but at the same time, I was just like, no, not my brother. You can't do this to him. So anyway, tell me your version when you arrived. What happened? I mean, like
Okay,
what you saw.
first of all, just to put it into context, this event happened during the 2006 war
Oh
between
wow.
Israel and Hezbollah.
Oh, I can't
Okay,
remember.
and at that time, that was in July 2006.
Yeah.
Why do I remember this very clearly? Because I had to travel to Yemen because I had a big market in Yemen. Okay. I had to travel to Yemen to secure our clients and to assure them that we are still in business despite the war.
Yeah.
So I took a great risk on myself for the sake of my business, of my work, so that I would have enough money to one day marry her.
Yeah.
Okay. So you can imagine, I'm putting my life at risk for
Yeah.
her, and she's doing what she's doing when I'm not around. You know, that was a big insult. Maybe that's why when I dropped her like a sack of potatoes, honestly, I can tell you, it's the truth. I was not sad. Totally fine. I was actually, I was liberated. I was so happy, and I was. It's like she was never there. She never existed in my life. And then I've come to realize that many people, react differently to infidelity. Some people would want to go through every single detail. They want to find out what happened, when, and why, and basically they are pain shopping. Okay, they are shopping for pain.
Yeah.
Other people would just react in the way that I reacted, which is basically switch off. And this is exactly what happened to me. I totally switched off. She immediately became nothing to me.
Yeah.
And the way that I dropped her, I did not say I don't want to see you anymore. I told her, you know what? I want to think about this. I want to think about what you did. I want to think about our future, because obviously she denied everything. Obviously, she said that what you saw was not true. He's just a coworker. Nothing was there, etc. And I wanted to believe her, but I mean, at the beginning, I did believe her. At the beginning, you
I
have to understand
remember.
my mindset.
Yeah.
My mindset at that time was, I'm happy I'm alive.
Yeah.
You have to understand, I just arrived from a battle zone, because when I was going back from Yemen, okay, the war was still going on, and they were bombing all the entry checkpoints from Syria to Lebanon. The Beirut airport was closed. All
Yeah.
right. So I had to travel to Damascus.
Mm.
And the road, although the straightest road is from Damascus to Beirut, all right, this road was already closed from the beginning of the war.
Yeah.
So that was totally out of the question. I had to go to the north of Lebanon and come from there, all right, on way from Tripoli.
Yeah.
So it was a very long journey, very long journey. So basically, instead of it being like 3 hours on the road, it became like 12.
Wow.
All right. So, and while we were on the road, we were hearing the news
Mm.
that Israel at that point was bombing entry points, other entry points, because I still remember all the details. There's an entry point called Abu Siye. Okay, it's in the north. We were planning on going in from that checkpoint, and we heard in the morning, like maybe a few hours before we got there, that it got bombed and bombed shut. So there was only one remaining entry checkpoint in the entire country that we could use. And if that was bombed, then I was stuck.
Yeah.
I could not go in. I mean, we weren't going to, climb the mountains and the hills
Yeah.
like smugglers into the country. We were all wearing suits and with baggage. It's not in our nature to sneak into a country.
Yeah.
So it was the only checkpoint. The only remaining checkpoint was that one. It's called Abudiyye. That one's Abudiyye. So
Yeah.
just giving you some context.
It was
Yeah,
like from the
we
Tartus
got
area, I
there.
think, right? From Tartus area. You went to the
Yes,
Tartus as yeah. Yeah.
true. So we crossed the checkpoint, and I felt, wow, thank God they did not bomb us while we were crossing.
Mm.
But still, there was a very high risk. Why? Because Israel was bombing all the bridges on that road, and they
And
had
the
already bombed
highways.
most of them.
Yeah.
Yes, they bombed the Casino Bridge. which is in Juni. They bombed the bridge after it, between Juni and Byblos
Sahel
city,
Alma, I
and
think
they
it's
bombed
called. Or something called Sahel Alma, but
the
no, after it actually.
Fidar, I think.
Yeah,
Fidar,
yeah,
I
yeah,
think,
somewhere
the
there.
Fidar
Yeah.
bridge. And also they bombed another bridge between Byblos and Tripoli. I mean, it was a total mess.
Yeah.
And while you are going on this road, you find burning cars on the side of the road,
Yeah.
burning cars. You find burnt buildings. I mean, it was a war zone.
Yeah.
Okay, so I knew that when we get to our zone, the Christian zone, all right, which was not being bombed by Israel, because Israel, has Christian allies and also Christian foes in Lebanon. So for the sake of their Christian allies, they don't bomb the Christian area. Thank you, Christian allies. I don't know what to say. At least we're not being bombed. I don't know
Thank you,
what to say. It's
American
kind of
Embassy, for being in the Christian area.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess. I mean, it's such a weird. I mean, sometimes you feel guilty,
Yeah.
and sometimes you feel relieved. I
Yeah.
mean,
You
I mean, it's kind of a
survive.
weird feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of a survivor's guilt, I
Yeah.
guess. So anyways, when I finally got home, I was so happy and so relieved that I came back alive. I made it back after 3 weeks of travel. That I did not want to hear any bad news.
Yeah.
Okay, either from you or from Sarah, our cousin,
Oh, I'm so
or
sorry.
from yeah,
You
and
know that I'm going to interrupt you for a second, but I don't know any of that story of how you came back because we didn't have the chance to talk about it because of your ex and what she did. So that kind of, for me, in my memory, overclouded everything else. And then what you told me just now, it's like I'm hearing it for the first time. Oh my
yeah,
God. Anyway, so yeah,
yeah.
continue. So you didn't want to hear any bad news, and
Yeah, I was not ready to hear any bad news. I just wanted, things to be. I just wanted, a break.
yeah,
I just wanted a break. It's a kind of a PTSD situation.
yeah,
I really was under post-traumatic stress
disorder.
disorder, and this matter compounded it worse. What happened with he who shall not be named, and so eventually, oh yeah, I forgot to tell you, she called me the night before,
Uh,
and she told me that she saw you, and she
oh,
was with someone. She was preparing me
yeah,
so that I would accept her side of her version of the story.
yeah,
And also, at that time, the night before, I was worried and I was mentally preparing for the journey back, which was dangerous. So I did not really I just decided to file it away at the back of my mind. It was not the time to think about it.
yeah.
Okay. So I ended up being so gullible at the end of all of this because it was so poorly timed for me,
Yeah. Yeah.
But eventually, I mean, when you told me and I argued with you, I remember arguing with you that you've always hated her and you never liked her, and you're making up stories. I remember stuff like this, and I also
Let me interrupt and tell you why. Because she used to single me out whenever we were in like in groups, and she would tell me that she hated Rita, who is now your wife. I think she kind of felt, I mean, because Rita was friendly with you, your friend, but and I know you, you are a very loyal person. I know that that's not how you operate, but I think she felt some kind of affinity between you two, and she was worried about something or the other. And because she would always, single me out and talk shit about, I hate people who like to gossip and who are totally insecure, and especially, when it comes to my brother. So that was the reason that fueled, and of course, seeing her cheating on you made me really hate her. Hate is a strong word. Poor girl. She also learned a big lesson in her life. I mean, I can't. I mean, she wasn't meant for you. I mean, now when I look back at it, I'm like, I wouldn't have reacted the same now that I did then. I was also like 22. You were not 26, you were 26, 27, so I was 27, 28 at the time. And again, you have to understand that I was 28, but really I had lived in a non-school all my life. Didn't really interact with men in any romantic way until I was 27, 28 myself. Had only one boyfriend when I was 21 for a few months. I was really busy with acting, with working, with life. I don't know, I just didn't really have time for romance for some reason. And so I really had no experience in relationships at the time, and so maybe my perspective as well. And of course, now I would have simply seen her, smiled, and I wouldn't have created this drama for you. I would have, waited a bit for you to come back, take a breath, and I would have told you, look, Ed, this and that happened, and I think that she's cheating on you, but it's your choice, your way to deal with it. You know what I mean? I mean, now definitely 20 years later, I would have a different reaction than I had back then. But yeah.
Actually, no, I disagree with you. I think you did not react poorly. I think you did what you were supposed to do. No, the problem was not from your end; it was from mine. I mean, truly, the only reason why I was not willing to listen was because of my mental state at that stage. That's the only reason why. I mean, the more I think about it, the more I understand what pressure I was under.
Yeah.
You did not know this. You didn't know this. Had you known this, okay, fine. You would have given me some time to breathe. But how could you know? Okay, I did not tell you. Um, but had it been a normal situation, had there not been a war, and had I not been under so much pressure and seeing all this destruction as I was going back, I would have definitely been more uh, understanding, and I would have related more to what you said, and I would have been more reasonable with my analysis. I mean, this is a clear-cut case. I mean, it doesn't really take much to analyze. Now, people might tell you, yeah, well, I mean, she just went out with a friend. It's not a big deal. Well, you have to understand something. In our culture, in our society, especially back then, it used to be a big deal. I mean, especially, I mean, we were together for a very long time. I mean, the fact that she did not tell me about this guy, I never knew about this guy, and except after the fact, and then and all of a sudden she's with this guy out of nowhere, sitting with him in a booth and talking about stuff and being warm and cuddly. I mean, it's. I mean, it doesn't take a genius to figure out what's going on, really. But in my case, I did struggle through it for a while. So it took me like a week to adjust after this, and I left the house for a week. I remember that,
Oh, I remember
and
calling Rawad, your friend.
because
Sorry, I'm going to just tell you. I remember when you left, that I called Rita's brother, and I told him, "Hey, Ed left the house. Can you please call him and see where he's at?" And then a couple of hours later, he tells me that you're at their place. So I was, and then I was like, he's fine. So yeah, just to interject on that part.
yeah,
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 go ahead. Did he call you or did you call
yeah.
him?
Actually, it's just, no. He called me. He called
He
me. He
called
said,
me.
"Where are you?" I said, "I'm just hanging around." He said, "Why don't you come over?" He said,
Yeah.
"Yeah, sure, okay, I'll come over." And yeah, we had a long discussion around this on the matter. Actually, Rawad was instrumental in helping me recalibrate. Recalibrate, he just just by listening to me, and while I was telling him, I was trying to exonerate her. Okay, I was explaining to him why I think she's not guilty. As I was saying them, I was realizing how stupid that sounded. You get my point?
Yeah.
And I started to understand. Oh my God, how stupid did I get to really allow this to happen? I mean, I could not do anything, but I mean, how did I not see this sooner? And
Well, you were in love, so that's
anyways,
you can't call yourself stupid. You were in love and you didn't expect this. It came totally left field, and so just it's okay. Be gentle on yourself as well.
yeah,
Anyway,
look, obviously, because I loved her, I wanted to give her the benefit of the doubt, but mostly I think it's because. But by the way, I
anyway,
have another story
yeah,
why she hated Rita so much.
yeah,
I can tell you that. I can tell you that. One one time we were going out. It was a Sunday evening,
yeah,
and I told her, you know what? Why don't we just go to a hookah lounge? We'll have a couple of hookahs,
yeah,
and lounge about. We don't have anything to do. It's Sunday evening.
yeah,
Uh, it'll be fun. She said, yeah, okay, why not? And when we got there, I saw Rita and her sister.
yeah,
They were sitting. They were sitting, and I said, "Wow, what a great coincidence!" I mean, it was not totally unplanned.
yeah.
And I started to talk to Rita, and uh, and then I said, "Well, can we sit with you? Is it okay?" She said, "Yeah, sure, sure. Sit down." And I looked at at,
Your
at
ex.
she who shall not be named,
Yeah,
and she was not very pleased. I mean, she looked a little
yeah,
bit apprehensive. I looked at her, what's wrong with you? Come on, have a seat. Yeah, totally oblivious to what's
yeah.
going on. Anyways, I was sitting there. Rita was on my left side, and she was on my right side. And all the time I was grabbing my hookah, okay, and I was looking at
Oh
Rita and
my
talking to her.
God. What?
My back, my
I mean,
back.
no, what? I mean, that's what should cheat on you, man. I mean, totally ignoring and dissing your girl, and that's bad form.
Yeah, I know it is. I know it is. Yeah, I messed up there, but I just couldn't help it. I was so attracted to Rita, so I just
Yeah.
couldn't help myself, I guess. Anyways, but I truly, in all honesty, I never cheated on her, and
I know.
that never happened.
Yeah.
That never happened. So, anyways, yeah, that's why she really hated Rita. She really hated her,
I
and
think that she did see the vibe. I mean, there was definitely a vibe between you and Rita that was visible to people who would see you together. But I mean, I don't think that you saw it as a friendship, and you were happy to have a new friend, and especially she's your friend's sister. And I mean, I know how you would think. You didn't see her in any romantic way until later. I'm sure that's. I mean, at least that's how I see you. Am I mistaken? I mean, that's.
yes,
I
yes, you are
mean,
mistaken. Actually, I always
I,
liked her
well,
secretly.
you were still there. You were still there. How long were you with your ex and when this was going on, the new crush?
Well, I mean, the first time I saw Rita, I was I was in my relationship maybe like 3 years maybe.
Oh,
And the thing is, I kept resisting my attraction to her,
yeah.
uh, and the main reason why that was the case was, first of all, she was very attractive, and all the boys were after her. And she was 23 at the time, and
Yeah.
also she's pretty blonde and perky. So
She still is.
all of
She still is pretty
uh,
blonde and perky.
yeah, yeah, but I'm prettier. I'm prettier than her. But let's not talk about this anyway. So all of Rawad, who was my best friend, he still is my friend today. All of his friends, they had a secret crush on her. You see,
How
and
wonderful.
some of them expressed it. Some of them did express it, and some of them were hostile to me. Even when I never revealed my intentions, they were
Yeah.
hostile to me when they were around her. They wanted
Yeah.
to assert their territory, their
Yeah.
dominance. Yeah, that was the case. I mean, Rita was in high demand at that time. but she was also very, very, very careful about who she associated with, because she did not want to mess up her brother's friendships with his friends. So she never really allowed a lot of that vibe, you know.
Yeah.
And that was the main hurdle that I needed
Overcome.
to cross over,
Yeah.
basically overcome, because I had to really switch from being a just a friend to more than that. You see, because I
So
was just in the circle of friends. I was in her friend zone.
yeah.
I was technically in the friend zone. So
In the friend
I had to
zone, but
come out of the friend zone.
you were in the friend zone, but you had all these late night calls that went on for hours for a long time before you actually crossed over to the non-friend zone. And I remember you coming to my room and just laying the bomb on me. And it wasn't very long after you'd broken up with your ex, actually. And you just came in and
That's true.
you told me, Dada, I really like Rita, and I want to, tell her how can I let her know that I'm in love with her, and I don't want to be her friend anymore. And then, I had heard of this very nice hotel that had like the 31st floor, and you booked it. And tell us the rest from here. How was that experience? Taking her out on the first date and crossing
Okay.
over.
Just to remind you, you gave me at that time, you gave me very good advice.
Thank
Unlike other
God.
times,
Okay.
this time
That
it was
was
a very good
important
advice.
then. So the romantic books actually paid off in this case.
Yes, actually, but you told me something before that. You told
Oh,
me that it's important that you are clear with her. That's what you told me. It's important that you clarify your intention, because right now she only sees you as a friend. So you have to take her out of this context, or take yourself out of this context. So what I did, actually, it was really, really not easy for me. You know, I wanted to. At that time, she was between jobs, and she had rented a place. Her and her brother and her sister, they were staying in a place in Beirut. And I was on my lunch break, and I thought, you know what, I'm not going to wait. On my lunch break, I'm going to go there, I'm going to surprise her, and I'm going to tell her the truth. I'm going to drop the bomb in her
yeah.
lap, you know. When I now Her brother was my colleague. We used to work together, and most of the times we used to take lunch breaks together. So I did not want her brother to know what I was hoping to do. So I did not tell him that I was leaving. I was going on a lunch break or anything.
Yeah.
I just went there, and when I got there, I found his car. So he had also gone on his lunch break to his house. I thought, oh shit. And I did not want him to see me. You know, that would have been. I mean, it would have been awkward. What are you doing here? What didn't you tell me? What's the issue? You
Yeah.
know. So I immediately called him. I said, "Hey, what's going on, man? Where are you?" He said, "Well, I'm home. You want to come?" I said, well, I don't know. Maybe it'll be a while. He said, no, but I have to go right now. I don't have the time. I have to leave right now. Maybe another time. I said, yeah, fine. Okay. It's not a problem. I'll have lunch on my own. So I took the car and I headed, and I was waiting for him to leave. And the moment he left, I parked in his parking spot. You know,
Oh
it
my
was
God, that's so
underground.
cute.
They went up the elevator, knocked on the door, fixed my tie.
Yeah.
Rita was doing housework at the time. You know, she was she was mopping and cleaning. And what are you doing here? Well, I told her, you know what, I have to. There's something important I want to talk to you about. And that's how it happened. That's how it happened. I just told her the truth. Now, at that time, she told me, I cannot say yes or no to you. I have to think about it. I told her, fine. Then you told me about this restaurant up on the 31st floor, and you told me, you know, go all out, be super romantic, do this, do that. I said, okay, fine, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna show her I'm the best lover in the world. And then she's gonna find out, and she's gonna love me. Gonna have
Oh
kids, you know. Yeah, and so we went to this place. I booked it before, okay, and I even went there beforehand, and I told him I want to select the table, and I even got some roses. I sprinkled some rose petals on the table,
so yeah.
uh, yeah, and then it was so corny, but anyways, it was funny. It
It's
was
not
fun.
corny. Yeah, it's beautiful. Tell me.
Anyways, so when we got there, okay, when we got there in the evening, I met the manager, okay, the guy that I just saw earlier today in the day. So I told him, yeah, please, the usual spot. That's what I told her, the usual spot. Now, she looked at me, what do you mean, the usual spot? I thought, oh my God, I just messed it up. The date did not even start, and I messed it up immediately. So then I explained to her, no, no, I'm just joking with him. Don't worry about it. And, anyways, we had a great time. We had a great time, and the rest is history, as you know.
Did you,
You know me. My charms are
of
irresistible to
course, yeah.
ladies. So
Did you seal the deal that night with a kiss, or you didn't get to kiss her that night?
no, 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 it did not happen. I tried, but
Okay.
she did not let me.
Yeah.
So I was so bummed out, and I thought, you know what? I'm not gonna call her. I'm not
Oh,
gonna call her. I'm gonna make her call me. You know. So she called me. Actually, she called me the night after, just just to talk, and we had a great conversation. And I felt, oh, I still have a chance. Okay, fine. Then we had another date. That was a Tuesday in the middle of the week. So at that date, yeah, that date we sealed the deal.
thank
So
God.
with the kiss,
Yeah.
yeah,
So cute. And
yeah.
now you have two beautiful daughters who are young women who are leaving the nest soon, but let's not get into that. It's too, maybe in another interview in 10, 20 years, we'll talk about that. Okay, I
Yeah,
want
yeah.
to, I just want to say that I loved our conversation. I know that almost half our time went on, talking about romantic situations and relationships, but these are really important, and this shows you in real time and in real life how things happen, So I love this. I want to talk about one thing I've always loved about our relationship growing up together, and I know we had times like in our 20s I got busy, with university. I mean, actually, since I turned 19, I kind of disappeared from the house. Ramsey did not like that. He used to complain to me that I don't see you anymore. So I was busy with the theater for 2 years, and then work and stuff. And I used to like spend a lot of time at the house anyway. So how was that period for you when I had gone off to college? You and Ramsey, I don't know if you had more time alone in the house, or were you not in the house as well? I don't know anything about that. Really, it's sometimes I feel like I just like spaced out for several years, well, like from home life. So tell me, how was that for you?
Well, actually, I was in the same boat. I mean, I went to university, and I was living my own life. I think Ramsey is the one who felt
Who felt it the
this
most?
gap. I think
Yeah,
he's the one. Yeah, I mean, because I was also out there doing my thing. We I recall maybe when I was 20 years old, I went on a Euro trip with my friend, with my best
true.
friend. We went to France and Italy. It was we had the best time of our lives for like 3 weeks. Another time, aside from the usual university stuff and the activities that come from it, and
And
the
you're also
studies.
dating.
The thing is, and I never really was interested in having serious relationships at that time. I mean, I like going on dates just to have fun.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about sexually. I'm just talking
Yeah.
about fun, just meeting people. I mean, that's what I wanted. I mean, just the excitement of going on a date, just the
Yeah.
excitement that I can attract a girl.
Yeah.
Just that part. I just wanted that part. I just
Yeah.
didn't care about anything else. And so many times I went on one date and then I said, you know what? You'll make a good friend.
Yeah. Yeah,
And then
but
she will hate me for the rest of her life.
you're so
I did that
charming.
so many.
I
I did
know.
it so many times. You know, one time I took a girl's number. She was so cute. Uh, and obviously, she liked me so much, always smiling for me and laughing at my stupid jokes and all the positive signs, you know. And I wrote down her number. I mean, there was no Instagram. I mean, there was just the cell phones were barely born.
Yeah.
You know, so I took her a number and I wrote it on a piece of paper and then I lost it. I lost the paper, so I promised I'd call her. I couldn't, so I started searching the yellow pages. Maybe I'll find her name. This is so stupid. Anyways, so, so
You
eventually,
wouldn't
when
you wouldn't actually find her name because to be under her parents' name in the yellow pages.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah.
I was trying to
Yeah.
imagine where she lives and her last name. Maybe I'll find something and I'll try to
Yeah.
call a house. Hello, do you have a daughter, by the way, my age? You know? Yeah. And
You
yeah,
know,
I'm lucky I'm
actually,
still alive.
yeah, actually, I did that as well. No, I did that. I was at the receiving end of that with several guys that I was kind of friends with, and I kind of hoped for more, but they friend zoned me. And a couple of guys, I even like confessed to them that I liked them. And of course, they friend zoned me anyway and didn't talk to me again. And so I've been in that boat when I was younger, like between the age of like 19 and 23, 24. I did that a few times. But anyway, it's okay. I mean, yeah, it sucks, but at least I prefer that you are honest and you tell the other person, what's going on, than just keep on guessing and wasting your time. So yeah, but I understand what you mean about having fun, just enjoying going out, and especially with the in our generation, we were really restricted. We could not go out when we were. I remember even when I was 17, 18, I was supposed to be back home by 8 p.m. Because we couldn't even watch the 8 p.m. movie at the movies. And we had very strict rules. So I guess when we went to college and we had our cars, we just, we broke free and we were kind of living our teenage years at college in a way, So I totally get that.
Maybe so. Maybe so.
Anyway,
Yeah, yeah,
let's
you're right.
move on to your writing because we should talk about that. And growing up, I know you're gifted with writing. You had already published like a few poems, I think, in like college magazine or something. And I remember when you were like much younger, be like 14, 15 or so, you wrote this long poem about a game or a bet that God and the devil had over the life of a human, and they were rolling the dice and stuff like that. Was really, very, very interesting. Although
Like the
you
test of
hated.
Job. And
Yes,
yeah,
exactly. And I still have that.
reimagined Job.
If you give me permission, I will read that on I Read Aloud. Can I read that sometime?
Oh, I mean, sure.
I still
Why
have I
not?
still have the printout of that. It's unfinished, but it's kind of I think it'll be interesting to read it because it has some really good stuff. Anyway,
So yeah, thanks a lot for that. Well, I started my writing journey, so to speak, when it was actually before I started university. Actually, from the first day of university, I wrote a poem. I remember it, writing a poem the uh, under the inspiration of. I don't know. I was revolutionary at that time. I was thinking of how life is unfair, and I was very. By the way, I was very left leaning in my thinking. So the first poem I wrote was called "Cold," COLD, cold, and it's still one of my favorite poems. I remember writing it, and I published it in a magazine that used to spread all over the English-speaking universities in Lebanon. It's called Campus. It was very, very well known, and
Yeah.
everybody read this poem, and they thought, because there's a professor in the American University of Beirut. He's 20 years older than me,
Yeah.
and he has his name is also Wadih Jreidini.
Yeah.
He has the same name, and people thought that he is the one who wrote it, and they started to call him, congratulating him for such great prose, and and he told them, "What are you talking about? I didn't write anything." And then he realized it was little old me. So that's how it started. And you know how when you're 18 years old, you think that you're the best that God ever created, and people who should thank God for having me, as a great writer. And I contact, and eventually, I sent a lot of other poems to this magazine, and the editor, I remember her. She said, "You know what? I'm not going to publish more because I did not like the other ones." So actually, she did publish. She did publish like three or four. She had like 3 or 4 poems, but she hated the rest. Fine. I mean, actually, that was a slap to my face. It made me realize that life is not going to be as easy as you think. Okay, you got lucky. They're there, and that's it.
Yeah.
You have to work harder the next time. After I started working, normal job, normal pay, and climbing up the corporate ladder, and so on and so forth. I started in parallel. That's after I got married. Started in parallel to write, and the first book actually I published is this one here. It's called "On Behalf of the Non-Humans."
Yeah.
Yeah, you remember that quite well because you kind
I
of
had
participated in a lot of it.
I had to edit it in 2 days for you. You had given me a few months to edit.
Oh yeah.
I was procrastinating, and then I thought I had like a month, and then you told me no, you have 2 days, and I remember sitting in a cafe, the cafe. Yeah, that was a
Yeah.
crazy time.
Now the cover could have been better,
I
but
actually like
this
it,
is the
but
book.
let me tell you just as a segue that this is until now my favorite book that you've written, not because of maybe I now of course you write much better. You've practiced writing and you do a much better job now at it. But I love your creation of a utopia in that book where you ultimately created a world without borders. You were against governments and you wanted people to go back to some sort of tribal life, reconnect with nature, which is actually what a lot of people are talking about these days. And you just spoke about this, I don't know, more than 10 years ago, I think. So that's why this
Yeah, in
really, really,
2015.
yeah, I thought my favorite. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
continue.
Actually, look. Although I'm not against I'm not against what you're saying right now. I mean, ultimately, uh, nations are just made up, and it's just setting up people against people,
Yeah,
while the rich are getting richer. I mean, that's the whole point of a nation, just to make the rich people richer. I mean,
yeah.
they look at the banking systems and all of that. You know something? The reason why I was saying these things is because I understood the economic system that we are living in, the fiat monetary system, the banking enterprise that we are currently enslaved to, and based on that, I've was dissecting in this book the economic model, how it really operated, and I was giving examples and
Formulas.
yeah, I mean, aside from the formulas, I was testing this formula in this book. I was testing
Yeah,
those formulas to prove step by step how the fiat monetary system is operating,
yeah.
and how people are getting poorer and the rich are getting richer. Um, and based on that, I came up with the conclusion of a utopia. Now, right now, if I was to rewrite this book, I would I would make a different conclusion, because the problem is, when you propose a utopia with the current systems that we are in and with the current mindsets that we are in, ultimately are going to go to communism.
Yeah.
This is the problem of a utopia. Utopia will always equate to communism at the end of the road, because there is no way people are going to come out of their mindsets of me against them, us versus they. There's always this dialectic, the
Yeah.
Hegelian dialectic between thesis and antithesis.
Yeah.
And ultimately we are going to be dragged into this dialectic,
Yeah.
whether we like it or not, because that's the way the world is right now.
Yeah.
And always, the media, the academia, the power elites, everything is geared to create an antagonism, an antagonistic system within every society at any level. This antagonism could be at the societal level, it could be at the economic level, at the political level, national level. As long as there is this antagonism going on, something people are going to be led by their throats towards a dystopia. Ultimately, you think that you're going to a utopia, you'll ultimately end up with a dystopia.
Yeah.
This is the only thing. This is why I would rather change my conclusion in this book. Other than the fact that I would change only the conclusion, which is basically maybe the last chapter, I would keep everything else. Maybe one day I will rewrite it. It's not because this is not because I have changed my political outlook on life.
No.
Well, partly maybe because of that, but mainly because I know that this conclusion is false. It will take us to communism, and I think communism is the worst thing possible.
Yeah.
And as
Now,
an outcome, we've already seen that.
you know. So, Tony, you take us about your thought process and how you went through these three other books.
The second one I wrote in 2020, 2021. It's called From the East and West, Journeying Among the Three Churches.
Yeah.
Uh, and obviously from the title, you would realize there was kind of a quite a shift in my writing, in my focus, even, which is reflective of my personal life, because between the time that I wrote on behalf of the non-humans and I published in 2015 and 2020, those 5 years, I mean, between them, I had my own spiritual transformation. So when I wrote this second book, From the East and West, in 2020, obviously it's a sign that I had a spiritual transformation, something a big shift in my way of thinking, and this is because of I was genuinely transformed between those periods. And to be maybe precise, maybe it was in 2017, something like that. I cannot remember exactly. Maybe 2016. I had this. I had this spiritual awakening. I would like to call it awakening. The reason why I would call it that is because before that stage, and when I was writing this book on behalf of the non-humans, I was in the mindset that, I mean, my paradigm was the material world and the collective mind of humanity. That was my entire paradigm. All right. After that, I understood that there is a deeper, that there's another dimension in our existence, and that is a spiritual dimension. When I understood this, I realized that we derive our meaning as people, as human beings, not from the material world, not from our collective experiences and mindsets, but from the fact that we are also spiritual beings. We have souls, and these souls are immortal. And based on this understanding, everything changed in my mind. Now, obviously, I turned to Christ. I mean, I'm not hiding this. And the thing about Christianity that's different from other religions is that Christianity is very specific when it comes to the moral stance. Why? Because Christ, who is our archetype, he gave us specific instructions. Give us specific instructions how we should behave, how we should be, how we treat our enemies, how we treat our friends, how we treat our children, our parents, etc. You know, this is just, I'm talking about the moral context. And obviously there is a spiritual context, which is the promise of eternal life. And this promise of eternal life comes with after a bodily resurrection of everyone. And all of that is tied beautifully in the end, in a manner that would make you understand that your very reality is intertwined with your morality. It's all together. It all comes together at the end. And those who realize this, those who understand how intertwined everything really is, are bound to live more fulfilling lives. They will understand. They will see things in more than just two dimensions: the body and the mind. There are more dimensions than this. And based on that, I wrote this book, which basically, when I wrote this book, I was trying to find the perfect church on earth, because as you know very well, the church is well divided. You have basically the three main branches: Catholicism, Orthodoxy, Protestantism. And that's why I called it journeying among the three churches. And this is not just theoretical. I was explaining my own trek, my own journey, as I started with the Catholics, and then I moved on to the Protestants, and then I moved on to Orthodoxy, and I had big issues, big clashes, even personal clashes in my own household, trying to find the way. Ultimately, I settled on Orthodoxy once I understood the meaning of tradition in the church, the real value in having a good tradition. And after that, and maybe like after a year or so, I wrote this book. It's called The Liberal Geo-Wave. I don't know if you can see it clearly,
Yeah,
or maybe you're seeing it opposite. I don't know.
for me it's
So
fine.
this book, this is one this is one book that I must rewrite, to be honest with you, because
Okay.
um, I the way that I wrote it, I think it's hard to digest. Although it's very, very, very informative, I really put out a lot of effort, in putting diagrams and things of the sort. It's filled with diagrams. I'm trying to explain how the, if you want, the history of philosophy since the ancient Greeks, and I focused a lot on Platonism. This is one of the other.
Diagrams.
Here I'm trying to dissect Hegelian Hegelian dialectic, the synthesis, antithesis, thesis, antithesis, but in a different way, because I do not agree with Hegel on how he, because according to Hegel, when you have a thesis and an antithesis, they will clash together and they will make a synthesis. And if you make enough clashes, you will end up with a grand synthesis. And this grand synthesis is the ultimate knowledge and the ultimate growth of humanity. That's his main philosophy. I say actually in this book I say the opposite. I say, when you make these clashes, you are losing information, you're not gaining information. So basically you are destroying, you're not creating. Just to give you an example, for example, I say the sky is blue, you say the sky is red. We do the clash, and then the synthesis is, well, the sky is green. I mean, it's neither blue no red, it's green. It's something. It's a synthesis of blue and red or whatever. I know. Actually, I think it's violet, blue and red. Anyway, whatever.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the idea behind it is when you always want to synthesize between clashing ideas, what do? You eliminate everything
That's
that is
extreme.
disagreeable.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you only maintain the parts that are in the middle, in the center, that are in agreement. Okay,
Yeah.
but even that synthesis is a thesis on its own, and it will clash with another antithesis, and it will synthesize even further. So basically, you're starting with a wide pool of data information, and then you are narrowing down as you go into less and less and less information. So this grand synthesis is actually entropy. It's actually entropy. It's actually
Mm.
mental entropy. That's why you find right now in modern societies this atheistic thought, this nihilism. You find so much nihilism, don't you? Why is that? It's because of the modern day philosophies that have tried to synthesize opposing views, and they have eliminated, they just butchered away, cut away the fats here and there and try to lean it more and more. But the more you try to lean it, you're taking away muscle and fat and muscle and fat. You're just leaning more and more. And then at the end of the day, you just end up with the bare bones.
Mm.
And people who are not finding meaning in this way of life. Maybe we went really deep into philosophical conversations, but I was just trying to explain partly what this book is
Yeah.
about,
Yeah. Yeah.
kind of. And then the final book is called The War on Christ. Now this, I printed it actually very recently. This is in Arabic because I'm addressing the audience here in Lebanon. Most of them they prefer to read in Arabic than English, although the English one is on Amazon.
Yeah.
So
So you
this
got you
one
got it
here,
translated. You have it in two languages, in English and in Arabic now.
correct.
Okay.
Actually, yeah, two of my books are now bilingual.
Okay.
So
What's the other book that's
so
bilingual?
the From the East and West,
Okay.
journeying among the three churches.
Tell us about the last book.
Yeah. So basically, I mean, the title is The War on Christ. The idea is, I mean, here I really went all in, trying to differentiate between the mindset of the world and the mindset of Christianity, and why they are always at odds. Why always the world is at odds with the Christian thought. And the way that I describe the world, first of all, for example, talking about the theory of evolution, talking about the atheistic mindset, talking about the liberal mindset and its fruits, are always the fruit of these. I talked a lot about feminism, actually, and not only the feminism, but also the red pill movement, the manosphere, all that other stuff, which is basically a counterbalance to feminism. Obviously, you know that. So I talked about both feminism on the one side and being countered by the manosphere on the other, and how both are tugging at the fabric of the family, of the social structure of the family, the microcosm of every society. And if left unchecked, both are going to destroy societies. I know people would lean one side or another, but really, if you look at this from an objective mindset, trying to really have an overview and look down at how the society is operating, you'll find that there is an actual war happening. And this war is targeting primarily the family, the microcosm. Why? Because the powers that be hate the family. They hate the family. They want people to be broken down as individuals so that they would have no social power, no economic power, no political power. Because with the family, you will have all three. You will have the social power because you will have your own enclaves, and from the microcosm to the macrocosm, everything will be tied together. And you will have economic power. Why? Because you will inherit that there will be generational wealth. And with the generational wealth, the middle class becomes robust. When I inherit my father's farm, Okay, I can build on it, but when my father is divorced, he has to sell the farm, and my father will have half, my mother will have the other half, and then the money is just sitting in the bank being eaten away by inflation and by interest. You get my point. So the idea is that when you strike at the family, you are striking at every single individual. You are keeping everyone weak, and this is how you can maintain control as a powerful elite. So that's why there's always this war. And who is the first protector of the family? It's the church. So you attack the church. And who is the first protector of the church? It is Christ, the mind of Christ. So you have to attack the mind of Christ. This is why I call the book The War on Christ. So the war on Christ is the war on the church, the war on the family. You see the connection, how it is. So that's the idea of the book. Now I know here that you and I do not see eye to eye on everything, but I promise you one thing: I have changed a lot since the last. I mean, many times we used to have arguments and things of the sort. I've I have come to understand. I mean, really, where everybody is coming from. When you talk about feminism, I understand why you talk about feminism now. I understand it more. I realize the issues. I mean, the background of your conversation, your mindset. But that does not negate the fact that what I'm saying is, despite your reasons for believing in a certain ideology over another ideology, regardless of the reason, the same causality is unchanging, and we have to really understand. We have to come out from our micro realities and try to see the bigger picture. And once we understand the bigger picture, we will really be able to fight back, not by holding sticks and stones, by fighting back with our minds, with our understandings, and with our lives, with the lives that we live.
The thing is that you've always accused me of being a feminist, but I don't see myself as an extreme feminist. I see myself more of a defender of femininity and an advocate for respect for women. My main issue is that women are silenced, and my main issue is that women do not have, in many communities, of course, you have when you go to big cities and when you go to, to many Western countries, but even in Western countries, if you go to villages and to certain cults and whatever, you still have certain situations and societies where women are silenced and where women are not respected. A lot of femicide occurs still. Femicide is like when a man kills a woman for honor, or it could be the brother, the father, or the husband. And this is my issue. That this is where I come from. Am I for extreme feminism where I would say death to man? No. Am I with extreme feminism where I want to erase the man? No. I want simply for both genders to coexist in respect, really, and in love. But when you love the other person, when you release judgment of the other person, whether it's a man or a woman, you have a more peaceful and loving existence. And this is actually what I advocate for peace on earth. So ultimately, this is where I come from. And that's why we've clashed so much before. And I know you. You are someone who teases me a lot as well. But my clash with you mainly was when you would say something extremist, like as a patriarchal extremist in front of your daughters. And you know how I feel about my nieces. I want them to have the best life. I want them to be, to have it all. And so I think you would trigger in me sometimes the fear of them being repressed or whatever. But then, I know that they're repressing you now.
I'm the one that needs to be defended. Yeah.
But seriously, and I just want to say this, and this actually brings me to the last question or two I have for you. Uh, and this is something I'm stealing actually from an account, a TikTok account called Meet Cutes NYC and Meet Cutes Besties, where they ask people if they're a couple and you ask a few questions. So one of the questions they ask, I'm going to ask it to you now. What is the thing that you like most about me? And then I will answer the question and give my opinion of that to you.
Okay, what I like about you the most is your adventurous spirit. I mean, when you were describing in your, in your college years when you were doing theater and the way that also on your career path, how you jumped from one. The way that you moved up the career ladder, your career ladder, that was also part of your adventurous nature, the way that you handled yourself. I always admired that, I always looked up to that. um, I'm not as adventurous as you. Maybe I'm not. I'm not so sure. Maybe I am a little bit
I saw,
in a different way.
I think that the fact I don't have a family, like I don't have kids, and I don't have a partner, helps me take decisions that are only for me, Whereas you, if you want to take any decision, you have to consider your wife, your kids, and that's, something that you can't escape from. So this does affect your decision making. And I think this is the main reason why
Of
I'm not
course,
a
of
risk
course.
taker because I'm like, whatever, I could just go jump in the ocean and swim back shore and I'll be fine. You can't risk that because you say, what if I die? What if I drown? What's going to happen to my family, for example, So, yeah.
Yeah, kind of makes sense. Well, actually, I faced that recently. I come to think of it. I mean, in 2006, when there was the war, I took a risk and I traveled and I took quite a risk. And I did not even explain to you when I was going, because even when I was traveling to Damascus, going back to that story,
Yeah.
on the way there were burning cars also right and left. And when we crossed that border, on the same day, 2 hours later, it got bombed.
Oh my
So you can
God.
imagine the risk that I was taking. Yeah. And so now jumping to last year, the war again in 2024 October, I had to travel to Kuwait, and I decided to cancel it last minute because I was so worried of leaving my family behind. And if I was because all this flashback from 2006 came back to me, and the PTSD got back to me, so I thought maybe I'd better stay where I am.
Yeah.
And although the airport was not bombed in
Yeah.
2024,
Yeah.
but still, because of my previous experience, I decided not to take the chance in
Yeah.
2020. So I became much less adventurous
Yeah.
after I have a family, just
It
to prove
makes
your
sense.
point.
Let me tell you what I like most about you. Um, and I've said this to you before, that I love how you express yourself. And I've always told you that you should be a lecturer. And not only that, I mean, when you want to talk about something, you delve so deeply in the research and you become so knowledgeable about the topic that, and at the same time, you relay it in such a way that is so interesting to other people. And that is a big strength that you have. And I also know that you sometimes, especially on Twitter, you go on and, well, now it's X, you go and you literally get into arguments with, extremist groups and whatever. But I know what they don't know is that you have the softest heart, the kindest heart, the most loving heart. And even though you could go to an extreme in what you say, because for you it's like this mental battle, you enjoy it. You enjoy sharpening like your knives, if you will, and it's like your thoughts are your knives, and you sharpen them, and you use your wit, and you enjoy winning the argument. But at the end of the day, you could really not mean so much half of what you say, and ultimately you are a softie. And if people only knew that, they would never even argue with you. Anyway, Eddie, it was a lovely, lovely journey of almost 2 hours that we've spent together.
My goodness.
Really, I
Wow.
think I'm going to just pretend.
Enjoyable. It was enjoyable.
I know. I think I'm just pretend to have you on further future episodes just to get to talk to you every once in a while.
Yeah. Actually, that was really fun. It was really
Yeah.
fun.